run through a few things before we get started. It's going to be a work day today, but I just wanted to go through maybe a few assignments just to make sure that we're understanding how, as a programmer, you guys need to anticipate not only what your user sees, but also what the requirements are for the assignment, and maybe not just for the exact assignment, but what you need to anticipate for what kind of output you want. So I'm going to just go to Repel It. You don't necessarily need to go right there, but you can at least listen and follow along. Let's see. Let's go to the basic calculator. I have sent back or graded, or at least sent back or marked complete all the assignments. So if I sent something back to you and I didn't give you a feedback, please let me know. You can email me and I can tell you what specifically I sent back or why I sent it back. Taking a look at the instructions. So remember on the right-hand side, I give you instructions or some directions. If I give you an example, it's just an example. It's not necessarily what the exact output should be. So for example, with the basic calculator, you need to anticipate that the person is going to enter two different numbers. So it could be, for example, in my sample here, it was 25 and 5, but the person could enter 9.5, they could enter 10 and 2, 373 and 3.5. They could enter a combination of both integers and doubles. A lot of you, I think, are running right through the directions and just starting and going through your code, and you're missing some key parts. So for example, when I said get two double values, you're probably going to need to anticipate that the user could input a double value, meaning they could put a decimal point in there. And a lot of you had integers or had a combination of both. But if you just do one int and one double, your program will give an error if I put two doubles in or if I put two decimals in. So please, 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 I'm going to be extremely picky about what you are coding and what is outputting, because that's going to be key to having a successful and thorough and efficient program. So that's the basic calculator. I'm trying to think what other ones that people struggled with here. Area, same thing. If you ask a person for example, here I said you're going to create a room and it should be length, width and length, and it calculates the user's output. Make sure it asks for the units. So if you are asking for feet, you might need to anticipate that it might be 2.5 feet or 2.75 feet. Because we have feet and inches, if you just ask for a full feet unit, there might be a decimal point. And I think I even put that in here. In inches, you can code. If you just ask for inches, it could just be a whole number. But if you ask for feet, you should anticipate that there could be some decimal points. I mean, clearly not every room is a whole number, right? I mean, if I measured our classroom, it might not be an exact 20 by 10 foot room. So you got to anticipate that there could be some decimal points. Also, make sure that when you ask the user, you ask them what kind of units, and that when you output, you also output the type of unit it is, and make sure it's squared units because we're talking about area. So just like in math, when the problem asks for what kind of units, and then you also have to put what kind of units are the results. Same thing here with programming. Questions about area? No? Okay. And then I'm trying to think if there might have been a few other ones that weren't hugely obvious that everyone struggled with. Paycheck, also make sure that you might have doubles or might have decimal points. I don't know about you, but I don't think everyone in the world gets paid a whole dollar amount. Sometimes you get paid 10.25, 18.75, 25.45. So you want to anticipate that not only could the pay be a decimal point, but also the number of hours. You might, I don't know about you, but if you have a job and you work 4.5 hours, I would guess you want to get paid for that extra half hour. So with a paycheck, you're also going to want to anticipate decimals as well. The name reverse, that seemed pretty simple. The input bug, that seemed to work. I was really picky on every output, so let's do input bug here. So for example, like for this input bug assignment, guys, if I give you an example output, I'm really looking for what the output would look like, using commas, using dashes, making sure that if it is asked for the first name, last name, and then a number, that the output is the last name, first name, and then a dash, and then the number. So I was very picky on that. So I may have sent that back to you. So I think for the majority of you, it's just a matter of reading through the directions and really understanding what specifically is being asked. So it might just take probably a few seconds for some of you to make the changes. Others, it might take a little bit longer, but I think the majority of you have been doing really well. Some of you are slightly behind, so I will finish talking here. But otherwise, yeah, just make sure that when you run your programs, you run it multiple times. I have a feeling a lot of you are just running it once and not typing in multiple different answers or different input. So if it's a numbers thing and it doesn't specify ints or doubles, try putting in an integer, try putting in a double, and making sure it'll work. Because if your program anticipates it being an int and you put a double, it'll automatically have an error. And so you'll know right away that you need to go back. So please make sure you look exactly what's being asked. You make sure that the output is correct and that it's thorough, so that way it fully explains what's being outputted to the user. And I think that's it. Any questions? No?
Oh, yeah. The quiz, is that graded?
It will be, and we're going to go over it tomorrow. Okay? Any other questions?
No.
Nope. All right, so please use this time wisely. If you need help, you can email me. Just send me a screenshot of your code and your errors if you're getting errors. If you ask for help from a neighbor, please make sure you're helping and not just taking over. I know it's easy to do when you code, but make sure that you're just directing verbally what needs to be done or how you can help, and not just taking over and typing it in or giving them the exact same answer that you have put in yours. So please make sure you do that. And these are going to be due ideally tomorrow. I might add another assignment for tomorrow just because I have a feeling the majority of you are going to be done and it shouldn't take too much longer, but I will take a look and see how far you guys are today. And then if you get done early, you can maybe go back to your programs. I can release your programs and you can improve them. Just send me an email if you need me to release them. So if you want to go back and look at it, that's great. Otherwise, you'll just have to either help a neighbor or find something quiet to do. Okay? All right, so I don't know, do you guys need me to stay connected or is it just easier to email me?
Answers, anybody there? Would you like to stay online or do you want to, if you want, you'd like to.